Good day, everyone. I'm having a little bit of success with my ads for or my videos for the Commitment to Mars book. It seems to be doing some hitting. And when I say a little bit of success, I mean that my wife and I go out for a couple cups of coffee every month, which, hey, you got to start somewhere. So, what I want to do today is talk about the All Alone series. Now, what I want you to do is imagine you wake up in the morning and you're the only one left. Your wife just disappeared. You go downstairs and your dog is there waiting for breakfast, but that's about it. There's nobody outside. There's no neighbors. Nobody's there. You make some phone calls. Nobody's there. As far as you're concerned, you're the only one left on Earth. So what do? Well, you want to survive. That's all you want to do, is survive. And that's pretty much all you can do right now. You have an advantage over people coming years later, or people that survive years later. You have all the non-perishable goods available to you. You walk in a Walmart or any place you want, and there it is, everything. And any store, any industry, whatever, everything's there, everything's available. The only thing you're going to not have is electricity and possibly, well, you'll have fresh water. You just have to figure out where to get it from. So your option is just survival. You're going to find yourself a place to camp out. You're going to try to collect as much non-perishable foods as you can. You're going to get yourself the gear necessary to hunt and survive outdoors. And you may live in an RV. You may find yourself a house with solar. So you can have some of the comforts of home. And then you're going to survive. But figure 20 years later, 10, 20 years later, the people that are there, and you can't believe you're the only one. If you survive, there's others. You just don't know how thin they are. And in my book, they start to show up from different areas. They kind of meet. It's set in North Carolina, so there's a major highway. There's a couple of them that go down through North Carolina. So, people traveling south on the East Coast are going to go through North Carolina. And some of them will stop. Some of them will settle. So after a while, you get groups of people. Well, now you're trying to get a society going. So how do you do things? How do you start up stuff? Your batteries are all worn out. They're gone. I don't know how long these new super battery, I can't think of the name, I apologize, last. I don't know if, they last a long time, or if they just, if without use and sit there, everything, nature will destroy them like it will everything else. But anyways, you want a battery, right? So you say, well, let's make batteries. Well, how are you going to do that? In order to make a battery, I mean, they had batteries back in the 1800s. They had what looked like a battery, but it was actually, the chemicals in it actually reacted to whatever materials were in there, and it created electricity, and it only lasted so long. That's how they ran the telegraphs back then. It wasn't batteries. It was actually you could call it a generator, but it was not mechanical. It was chemical. But if you want to build a battery, you need lead. Lead you can get. That can be found, in today's world in quite a few places. And you need some kind of a case for it. Well, there's different processes that I'm sure you could replicate and create a battery. I am sure that you could make it out of wood and spread it with tar inside. And I think that would probably do what you wanted. But you still got to come up with sulfuric acid, which is not an impossible feat. But somebody has got to set up to make the sulfuric acid. And that's just one thing. Now, can you make a car? Well, yes, you can make a car. They made cars in the late 1800s. Now, I'm putting that book in the time period that if they could make it in the middle, if they had it in the middle of late 1800s, there's a pretty good chance they can have it now. But that's not 100% true, because even in the 1800s they had supply lines. They had stuff coming over from Europe. They had stuff coming from Canada. They had stuff coming from Cuba, from South America. So they had the materials. I may be wrong, but I don't see too many rubber trees growing in North Carolina. So, you want to make tires, So survival, is one thing. But then when you want to recreate your society, it takes time. I guarantee you there's things back in the 1700s that you would have a hard time reproducing, just because you don't have the supply lines. Think about it. Well, I hope everybody has a good day. The weekend's coming up. It's still hot here right now. It's just terribly hot. So everybody have a good day, and we will see you next time. Maybe next time I'll actually shave.